Hello, everyone. I finally got the live stream to work this time. And sorry that I'm not sharing my screen. I have done everything except break my computer to get the OBS to work on my computer. The interactive screen would work, but the scroll bar wouldn't stay intact so that I can share my screen. So eventually I will get these bugs and kinks worked out. Hopefully, someone might, I don't know. Even Zachary K. Hubbard called me, and his information was awesome. Everything worked like it should, except the scroll bar for whatever reason just wouldn't allow me to manipulate the screen in the way that I needed to. So, but what I'm going to be doing is reading Zachary K. Hubbard's first blog from 2013. And I think it's so relevant because in light of Public Enemy releasing their album entitled What Are You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down? And this blog is from October of 2013. And I'm going to be reading that, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you would like to follow along in the reading, just go to freetofindtruth.blogspot.com and scroll to his 2013 post and go to October. There's only one post in there, and it's this one. And it is entitled The Next 9/11, the Carolinas and Numerology. Hello, everyone in the chat. How you guys doing? Hi, Disambiguation 144, and hi, Blue. I tried to help you. Sorry, it's still giving you trouble. Well, Blue, I haven't read your post yet, but I will do that after this live stream. But I'm glad you guys are joining me. And I think this post by Zachary K. Hubbard is just awesome. And I will begin reading it now. Okay, so on August 27, 2013, Janet Napolitano, Secretary of Homeland Security, resigned. In her outgoing speech, she warned of an upcoming serious cyber attack that could take down our power grid, one that could impact all functions of our daily lives. She said the attack was not a matter of if, only a matter of when. Hello, Shantae Joy. Hello, everyone that's joining me. And I am reading Zach's first post from 2013 on his freetofindtruth.blogspot.com blog page. Okay, so days later, on September 2nd, 2013, Senator Lindsey Graham warned that if the United States did not attack Syria, it could mean a nuclear bomb detonates in Charleston, South Carolina, or New York. Lindsey Graham added that the nuke would not come on the head of a missile, but in the belly of a ship. Graham's remarks, paired with other occurrences from popular culture, echoing similar sentiments, makes one wonder if there could be something sinister at work in the North and South Carolina regions, and possibly Lindsey Graham knows more than we do, and his words, along with Napolitano's, should be taken with a degree of concern by we the people. And I totally agree with that. As you read along, I will piece together some of the seemingly unconnected but related clues I have not uncovered. If you watch television, you might have seen the show Revolution, and that's Revolution, Revolution on NBC, a series that began in September of 2012. If you have not seen the show, it has a post-apocalyptic plot set in Wilmington, North Carolina, where the world mysteriously lost power 15 years earlier, and it has been a struggle to survive ever since. What is key about this show is the blackout scenario and its setting of Wilmington, which is not far from Charleston, South Carolina, where Lindsey Graham said a nuke could detonate. The possibility of this blackout scenario is becoming alluded to more and more in popular culture. If you look through recent news headlines, and this is from 2013 and probably still relevant today as well, You've seen an upsurge in frequency of stories pertaining to the possibility of the power grid going down due to solar flares, meteors, and ballistic weapons launched from terrorists or foreign enemies of our federal government. For whatever reason, our media wants us to know more about this threat of a national blackout, especially as out of the last 3 years. Wow, this is crazy. And that was 7 years ago. So the same stuff is still being talked about today. It's just crazy. This blackout scenario is alluded to in Revolution and other places. And other places has been warned about by politicians from Newt Gingrich to the recently resigned Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano. Members of our federal government, along with support from the Heritage Foundation, even released a documentary in 2009 detailing how an electromagnetic pulse, uh, a, a EMP strike, could instantly set our nation back a century and leave us in a state of mass chaos and panic. I just can't imagine that. That is crazy. They titled the documentary 33 Minutes. 33 Minutes. And in the narration, it is said the name was chosen for the film because it would take 33 minutes for a nuclear warhead to reach the United States from either Iran or North Korea. In the same documentary, Ground Zero of New York City is visited. And while it shows the destruction of what was once the World Trade Center buildings, the narrator explains how if a nuke were to detonate in the sky above what was once the site of the former World Trade Center buildings, it would kill 1 million or more people instantly. That is crazy. And cause widespread destruction to the power grid and nation's infrastructure. It is a frightening thought indeed, and one the documentary wants you to imagine. In 2009, a fiction novel titled 1 Second After, with a foreword by Newt Gingrich, was released, also relating to a power grid down scenario. In this novel, an EMP attack destroys the nation's power grid. From there, a frightening apocalyptic world ensues. This novel is essentially the fictional retelling of what is told in the documentary 33 Minutes. The story of 1 Second After is set in Black Mountain, North Carolina, a town that is also not far from Charleston, South Carolina, and even closer to Wilmington, North Carolina. So together, we have two stories set in North Carolina dealing with the power grid going down. We also have a senator from South Carolina claiming a nuclear bomb could go off in his home state, in a city not far from Wilmington or Black Mountain. Perhaps Lindsey Graham has seen the 1983 movie Special Bulletin, which I've never seen that movie, in which a nuclear bomb does detonate on a ship in Charleston Harbor, reducing the region to dust and fire. Oh my goodness. The only other story I'm aware of pertaining to this topic is written by former Senator Byron Dorgan, where the story also deals with a national power grid down scenario. But the setting is in North Dakota, Byron Dorgan's home state. Then again, each story is told within a world where the entire nation's power grid is down, so setting might not be of total importance. This is crazy. Hi, Kayla, the code talker. Alrighty, so here we go. Perhaps you're reading this and saying, so what? Well, I'll tell you what. Investigate the fictional book, The Final Jihad. And I need to get that book. I keep planning on getting it, but I need to read that. But the fictional book, The Final Jihad, written in 1991 by the brother of the governor of Oklahoma, and is published and first published in 1994, then out of publishing before being back in publishing in 1996. The story follows a Tom McVeigh, who is from Oklahoma, bombs a federal building, downs a TWA flight, and then attacks the World Trade Center buildings. If you search for it on Amazon.com, reading the customer comments should give you a kick and maybe even a feeling of being sick. The point is, clues were dropped in fiction, from books to TV programming to movies, about the upcoming terrorist attacks of 9/11. The history is there for you to uncover should you choose to do so. And for the moment, I'll give you a little taste. Okay. The Lone Gunman, a pilot episode which aired on Fox in March of 2001, showcased an airplane being hijacked and nearly flown into the World Trade Center buildings just before the hero of the episode saves the day and avoids the tragedy. Outside of that, other subtle clues are intertwined in mainstream programming through the 90s and even before. A 1994 article in Vice magazine shows Beavis and Butthead with turbans and darker skin, each flying separate planes into the World Trade Center building. The illustration accompanies an article introducing a little-known terrorist organization by the name of, you guessed it, Al Qaeda. Isn't that crazy? Al Qaeda. Better yet, if you saw the 1999 Hollywood blockbuster, The Matrix, you may have noticed Neo's passport expired on 9/11/2001. Curious coincidences, don't you think? Fight Club, the other blockbuster from that same era of movies, ended with a city skyline of buildings collapsing in free fall. Now that's a movie I need to rewatch because I don't even remember the movie that much, but I definitely don't remember the buildings falling. That is crazy. Beyond these occurrences, there's many more, including a 1994 cartoon episode of Iron Man, where in the same episode, a fighter jet is given the mission of destroying the World Trade Center towers and the Pentagon. From Terminator to The Simpsons to Mario Brothers, clues about the upcoming events of 9/11 were bound. Sorry about that. Okay. Turn my phone down. Okay, from Terminator to The Simpsons to Mario Brothers, clues about the upcoming events of 9/11 were abound. And if you want to see them for yourself, they're a short web search away. Okay, back on point. Charleston, South Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Black Mountain, North Carolina. The three sites of fictional predicted events and relating to power grids going down. When mapped out, make an almost perfectly symmetrical triangle. See the picture at the top of the article. And if you do visit his blog page, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com, and go to his 2013 October post, you will see that picture right at the top. And it does have a red triangle in there. Okay. Okay, at the head of that triangle is Black Mountain, South Carolina. And just south of that site is Cowpens National Battlefield. If you can envision the triangle on the map as the all-seeing eye of the dollar bill, you can imagine how Cowpens National Battlefield would be the placement of the all-seeing eye in the arrangement. Absolutely. If you're not familiar with Cowpens National Battlefield and its significance to the Revolutionary War, please see the excerpts from history text. And he has something listed here. So, Brigadier General Daniel Morgan defeated Lieutenant Colonel Banastre, probably pronounced Banastre. It is spelled Banastre. Okay, Colonel Banastre Tarleton and his army. So Brigadier General Daniel Morgan defeated Lieutenant Colonel Banastre Tarleton and his army of British regulars. This is the turning point of the revolution, as British troops never recovered from this defeat. On March 4th, 1929, Congress recognized the importance of the Battle of Cowpens by creating Cowpens, and that's spelled Cowpens for those who may not uh, know if I'm pronouncing it correctly for you. But yeah, Cowpens. It was recognized in 1929 by creating Cowpens National Battlefield. The Battlefield of Cowpens, January 17th, 1781, took place in the latter part of the Southern campaign of the American Revolution and of the Revolution itself. It became known as the turning point of the war in the South, part of a chain of events leading to the Patriot victory at Yorktown. The Cowpens victory was won over a crack British regular army and brought together strong armies and leaders who made their mark on history. On October 18th, 1781, the British army surrendered at Yorktown. Cowpens, in its part in the revolution, was a surprising victory. Yeah, I'm sure it was a surprising victory and a turning point that changed the psychology of the entire war. Morgan's unorthodox but tactical masterpiece had indeed spirited up the people, not just those of the back country Carolinas, but those in all the colonies. In the process, he gave Tarleton and the British a devil of a whipping, and that is in quotation marks. So you might want to look that up to see what that equates to. Cowpens Battlefield is the place we remember for what turned the American Revolution in our favor. It is a place of major historical ramifications. It is symbolic, like everything else is symbolic that these people do. It is the site of a battle you could say helped secure our sovereignty as a nation from Britain and foreign rule, something that is very much in threat today. Since the attacks on 9/11, our nation's constitution has been subverted and our military has been used in illegal wars of aggression. All that has happened has been against the will of the people. It seems that post 9/11 America has not been a time of sovereignty, but instead a time of widespread treason, infiltration, and deceit. Perhaps our rulers, those who have infiltrated us and now govern from the shadows, would like to destroy the region, possibly even the site of where our sovereignty was once earned. Cowpens Battlefield. The destruction of such a site could signal the final fall from what we once were, a proud nation free of rule by tyranny. At this current moment in history, we are a nation staring down the barrel of World War III and a nation of laws that resemble that of a police state, where citizens can be arrested and detained without warrant and for as long as need be if suspected of being a terrorist or involved with terrorism. This is not the country any of us were raised to believe we lived in. Instead, it is an Orwellian nightmare, one disaster away from something darker than even George could have imagined. That disaster, that disaster that tips us the wrong way for eternity may come in the Carolinas, and it may come soon. If you listen to the rhetoric or you look at some of the more obscure clues in popular media, the writing is on the wall. In fact, it has been on the wall for a very long time. We are a nation that has been through the cities for decades. Absolutely. Even when you look at our history, you see how the events of 9/11 came to be. As Eisenhower once said in 1961, as he was exiting the presidency, the military industrial complex must be stopped or it will grow beyond our worst nightmares. Today, we can safely say it has grown beyond our worst nightmares, and it is unfortunate his warning was largely ignored, but history is still being written. And we can learn from our mistakes, such as not recognizing the importance of numerology and symbolism and how it is used by our secret society masters. Absolutely. Man, okay, not aware, but 911 was made the national emergency dialing code in 1968. Also in 1968, construction began on the World Trade Center complex. 33 years later, the two seemingly separate entities would become intertwined in one infamous, life changing, tragic event. If you believe this is just a coincidence, find the 9/11 commissioner. Find 9/11 Commissioner Bob Kerry's remarks, in which he admitted the 9/11 attacks were a 30-year conspiracy, to a journalist asking about the collapse of World Trade Center 7. Anyhow, 33 is a number that corresponds with Freemasonry and is recognized in that secret society as the highest echelon of membership. It is a number that is reflected in the Bible, on our currency, throughout society, and often in tragedy if you pay extra attention to the headlines. From our recent history, the Virginia Tech shootings yielded 33 dead victims. And more recently than that, a 33-year-old Michael Hastings had his car explode in a Los Angeles, not far from the 33rd parallel suburb, for reasons that are impossible to explain. So his car blew up in a Los Angeles suburb. Michael Hastings. Okay. There have been many more occurrences before, between, and since. If you pay attention, this number will grab your attention more often than you suspect. And when you see it, you should have a sense of suspicion, because now you know what it pertains to or might possibly pertain to. Absolutely. This year, 2013, marks the 33rd year since the planting of a very suspicious monument in the hills of Georgia, where there are something called the Georgia Guidestones. And I went to see the Georgia Guidestones back in 2012, but I had no idea what gematria was at that time. So I really wish I would have taken better pictures of that, those stones. Okay, they were placed there on March 22nd, 1980. Aside from them being placed there 33 years ago, uh, March 22nd is a peculiar occurrence and is another number worth paying attention to. 322 happens to be the address of Yale's Skull and Bones fraternity, and the date the Stamp Act was passed on, which gave way to the American Revolution. In movies, the number 322 is often hidden in scenes of terror. For example, in The Dark Knight Rises, when the football stadium is exploding, the camera pans to a man in a suite who is behind the attacks. Just beneath the glass of the suite, you see the section number 322 written on the concrete wall. Man. In another recent film, Transformers, the Hoover Dam is attacked, and after the dam begins to leak, a shot is shown of the Days with No Injuries board, which reads 322. 322. Oh my God. Can you imagine a terrorist attack on the Hoover Dam? Talk about a power grid down scenario. Oh my goodness. In such a scenario, chaos would surely ensue. The Georgia Guidestones, placed in Georgia on March 22nd, 1980, have 10 rules etched into them, and major disaster and chaos of of unrivaled proportions. They are as follows, okay? Number one, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Yeah, right. Unite humanity with a living new language. What is a living language? Living new language. Oh my goodness. Number four, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Number five, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. They should be doing that crap today. Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials like today. Why can't they do that today? And number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. Number 9, prize truth. You lying bastards. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And number 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Man, this is just crazy. But I read every one of those things, well, in English, because they have them in different languages when you go there. But anyway, I'm almost done with this. Got about 3 more paragraphs to read. But anyway, these rules are written on 4 large stones standing over 19 inches tall. They are, they're over 19 feet tall, not inches, 19 feet tall. Okay. They are written in 12 languages, but the man who placed them there, R.C. Christian, is an unknown. It is believed that it was only a pen name and not a real person. Whoever it is had resources, though, as this monument was no small task. Not only is it massive, it is placed and designed to commemorate specific astrological events. What it leaves one wondering is, do those who place them there have the power or ability to maintain the world's population under 500 million? If that were so, it would mean 13 out of every 14 living people on the earth today would have to die. That is crazy. If you are from the Carolinas or Northeast or know anyone in the region, you should alert them to these findings. At most, they could be life-saving. At least, they could be eye-opening and informative. Also, in the case of a national power grid down scenario, you want to make sure you're prepared. That means you need water, canned, dried food, generators, propane gas, blankets, and a propane stove. As you probably want to know, you probably want to know the federal government has a planned drill for November 13th and 14th of 2013 there, where they will be preparing for a national power grid down scenario. If you know the history of false flag attacks, you know government drills are often planned for the same date they happen on, like the 9/11 attacks, 7/7 attacks, and Boston bombing attacks are all evidence of this. Please do what you will with this information. I am not a psychic. I am just an ordinary man in pursuit of truth and trying to make sense of what information I have. I care very much about people, and I want us to awaken and overcome these demons who currently hide in the shadows where they rule from. Thank you for reading, and peace be with you. I look forward to your comments and any information you have to share. And that is the end of the reading of that blog from 2013. Like I said, I think it's very relevant since you have Public Enemy that with an album entitled "What Are You Going to Do When the Grid Goes Down?" And I'm sure there's other stuff. But thank you guys all for listening. And do any of you guys have any comments, more comments about this this blog? And this blog is from 2013. Let's see how we have in here. Michael Gregory. Hi, Michael. Yes, awesome. Hi, Grant Roger. Haven't seen you in a long time. And that is the end of this reading. I'm going to You're welcome, Blue. And tomorrow I will do another reading. I think I'll read maybe from another blog page tomorrow because I like everybody. And I want to read from author's page, Simple Truth Television. Uh, and I would like to read from Gematria Altum. I like their work as well. But I was trying to get to where I could share my screen, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't get it to work today. But everybody have a great evening, and thank you for joining me. And you guys take care and stay safe. At National, yes, definitely relevant. Thank you, more. You're absolutely right. It's just funny that I happened to I said, let me just scroll to see what Zach's first blog post was, and it happened to be about the grid. So yeah, it's very, very relevant here. And thank you guys for joining me. You guys have a good evening, and I'll read another blog tomorrow, and maybe I love Zach's work, so probably be from there, but I want to share everyone's work too, Simple Truth and others. So you guys take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.